Frack on. Welcome to the episode of Frack The Canon. I am joined by two amazing ladies, by Maria Asha, and Anya. How are you guys, ladies? How are you ladies doing today?
So good.
I'm good. It's hot out here.
Yes, it is. How are you doing, Anya, since we last spoke? How are you holding up?
Great. The temperature has started to rise in the Yukon. Not hot, but certainly warmer, which is nice. Still a lot of snow on the ground, but it's melting. So.
And you, Masha?
Well, it's not like the beautiful sunsets I suppose they have and scenery that they're always showcasing in LA, but at least I have air conditioning.
Lucky. Alrighty, so we're talking about season 5 of Selling Sunset. How did you all feel? I felt myself frustrated, man. I was getting to the point where I'm like, all right, I'm getting tired of a little bit of the drama, too much drama. Some stuff happened, and we'll talk later on as the show goes on. Like the end, the season finale. Hopefully not series finale, but season finale. I'm like, why is this person still here? That was my big thing. Who wants to start us off?
Well, I felt like this is season 5, but it really just felt like it basically was a continuation of season 4 because I think they just started filming it 2 weeks afterwards. And so, we in real life had a couple of months delay between them, but in between, like I was following things on Instagram and Reddit and seeing how things were being played out in real life. Mm-hmm. So some things were already spoiled for us that we talked about also in the last podcast. So it's interesting to kind of bridge that divide and see some things that we did miss, but also some things that we know happened and how that they played out.
Anya?
Yeah, I was just so excited for another season and really, really happy that there was like a lot of like positive, like really crushy, like love happening for Chriselle and Jason, and that was awesome. But yeah, maybe similar to you, René, I was like, Christine, like, geez, just like slow your roll. Like, let us get, like, I want to see a couple houses, okay? Like, I want to see people sell some things. Why are you so...
When's the last time she sold a house, huh?
Right? Exactly.
Wasn't that a talking point too in this season? Like, what's the time she sold a house? When was the time she sold a house?
Before she was married.
Yeah, that's true. But she did have a new. Well, at the beginning, it seemed like she had an accomplice. What was her name? Chelsea?
Yes, Chelsea.
Yeah.
New character.
Yes, new character. Because she was a character. I'm like, okay. So how did you all feel about her? Because at first I'm like, I don't know if I like her. At first I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense. But like her initial interaction with all the other girls, I'm like, again, there's always drama, right? I guess when Christine started crying, she goes, that was bullying. But I'm like, but you don't know the whole story.
Exactly.
But she does. Chelsea said that she watched the show before she came on season 5. And she wasn't just some random off the street. She was mic'd up and the producers vetted her and she was auditioned for this role. And that little meet cute that they had wasn't exactly staged, but it was fabricated to happen on camera. So, the producers of the show expected her to be a character. Maybe she was going to end up being an agent either way. Mm-hmm. But she was planned. Just like I think the Vanessa was a production plant last season, and that didn't really work out, I think, how the producers wanted, and she just became a passive kind of side character. And then Chelsea was what they would have wanted Vanessa to be last season, I believe.
Chelsea came in like a wrecking ball. Chelsea, I definitely, like, at first I was just concerned for Chelsea because I was like, oh no, she's meeting Christine. And like, Christine is her like introduction into this group. Like, we know how Christine is. Like, I know Christine's going to manipulate Chelsea. Like, I did appreciate that Chelsea was obviously like a badass realtor. She made her connections happen and like proved that like she was obviously, an asset, which was awesome. But yeah, I was just like really sad because I was like, dang, I wonder what the dynamic would be like if Chelsea had been introduced to like Chriselle first, and that's how she came into the group, or like introduced to Emma, or like how different would that have been? Because she started off just like Christine's BFF, which means you're totally gonna like defend them and like want to have their side. It was a lot.
I remember because she did say something that kind of made me like, maybe I don't know if it was supposed to like her or make, but it rubbed me the wrong way when she said, Christine, if Christine is taking a ship, these girls float. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm like, wow, okay, she's like, I understand look after yourself, look after your ass, but I'm like, she's obviously, I mean, you always have to look out for number one, but I'm like, wow, dude, where's your loyalty then, But I guess I don't know, but
that's why her and Christine get along.
Puppy, her loyalty. her decolletage is her only loyalty.
Yeah.
Her what?
Decolletage, is that the word?
Oh.
Is that why Davina keeps sinking because she doesn't have breast augmentation?
Oh my god.
I did really like Chelsea's style was super fierce though.
Oh my god,
like
she was beautiful.
Chelsea was looking great, like every single, and I thought it was really cute that one episode where like her kid like picked out her outfit for her. Like that was super cute.
And I really like the interaction with her husband versus how, if we're going to compare Christine and Chelsea and their interactions with their significant others, like I liked Chelsea's husband. He was, supportive, but not bringing down other people, at the same time. And that was lovely to see. And then just kind of seeing the connection between, we saw more of Jason and Brett, even in their talking heads, like seeing more of Jason. I think Jason's connections with Chelsea's husband and relationships in the show. And normally they're kind of off to the side, but that was interesting to see them open up more. They're normally so private.
Yeah, that was lovely.
That surprised me a lot too, because I'm like, well, because they're Chriselle and I'm taking my glasses. And was it Jay? Who's she dating? Jason or Brett? I keep forgetting.
Jason.
Jason. Okay, thank you. I'm like, okay, yeah, that was weird. I think I wanted to see more of that interaction too, because why did they got into an argument over something? The twins.
Yeah.
What was that about?
Well, Brett was really heated towards Chriselle for a house that he wanted to sell for more, and
no, not the one with Chriselle and Jason. The one within Brett and Jason. Why were they fighting?
They had a little like fight in Greece because like Jason was talking to like Amanda and someone else, and Brett was like over there with his partner. Like they were all sitting in the same place, and I guess Jason and Amanda and I forget who else was there was talking about like who has a good relationship, and Jason and his partner were like not really included in the conversation, but also like they were sitting there, like they totally could have joined in. And so then like Brett got all butthurt and he's all, we're sitting right here, you're talking about good relationships and you're not even talking about us. Like it seemed kind of silly.
Yeah, I remember now. So Brett and his partner at the time, Tina, who they have since I saw online have since unfortunately also broken up for similar reasons that Jason and Chriselle broke up. But they were together for like 8 months or around there by that point, versus Jason and Chriselle have only been together for a couple of months. And they're talking to Mary and Romaine, who have been together for several years, I think.
That's right.
And they're like talking as if they're the experts on relationships and long-term relationships. And it's just they don't have as much of a leg to stand on. And that just felt kind of out of left field. Yeah, I agree.
That makes sense. That makes sense now that you gave me that background. I was like, why does he even care about this right now?
Okay, yeah, because that was weird. I'm like, that came out of nowhere. I'm like, it was Mary and Romaine. That's who they were. Yeah, Mary and Romaine. That's who it was.
I go back and forth about my opinions with Romaine. Sometimes I think he's a little bit of a man-child with his like, I need to put in 50% of the equity, like money wise, into a house when Mary makes more money and has been more established. And but then he also stands up for her really well and doesn't take people's bullshit and he doesn't care to be liked as much. Like he has his values that are important to him and he sticks by them. Sometimes maybe it's just a cultural or age difference, but I think like Mary was in the wrong when she put down I think it was an offer for a house, and we know that they kept talking about in the show how you have to do things very quickly, but it's not that hard to just give a call to your partner. And I know even if you put in an offer, you can still rescind it, or there's like more steps after that, and so it's not like an end all be all that you're putting up $2-3 million. But they're married, you know, she can't be making decisions for the partnership on her own.
Anya, I see you shaking on your head.
Yeah, I love Romaine so much. Like, I used to kind of waver back and forth too, but I think if anything this season, I was really like, oh my God, I love him, because I thought he handled that situation with Mary really well. Like when she did that, he, you know, expressed that he was upset, you know, he expressed his valid feelings about it. She listened, you know, she gave him kind of like her point of view. He listened. And he still, you can just tell like he loves her so much. Like he was able to have that conversation, assert himself, express what his feelings were, express that he didn't want that to happen in the future, but it felt like it was coming from a place of love. Like it didn't feel like reprimanding or like disrespecting or anything. And I just thought that was really sweet. I feel like they're just in love. They're so cute.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any specific moments? Which, like, the big one I want to talk about is probably the season ending with Christine's like big moment, for lack of a better term. Before we move to that, is anything else you want to talk about? Because I can think about that forever. I want that one moment, that one. Anything, Anya, Masha, anything you want to talk about?
I don't want to give Christine any more breath than necessary, and that drama at the end is the only thing that's like newly relevant. Everything else is just rehashing of old conversations and misunderstandings and unaccountability on her part, and so that's just old. I'm tired of it. I want her to just no longer be a part of the conversation anymore, because she doesn't want to be you know, she doesn't want to have a conversation. She just wants to shut down and gaslight people. And I think she just is over the show, and maybe she was looking for a way out, and this is a way for her to just, she didn't even defend her position. So she didn't even have the balls, the boss bitch attitude that she so much purports. You couldn't even give them the time of day to defend herself when she actually had the opportunity to defend herself. And then also the reunion's going to be, it was shot a couple of days ago, and she was reportedly not there again, sick. So.
I mean, I wouldn't mind getting y'all's opinion. I know you don't want to give Christine any more breath, but like, what's the name of the blonde girl who got married? Why am I forgetting her name?
Mary? Heather.
Not
Heather.
Mary. Heather, yes.
Heather.
Okay. Love Heather. So happy for her. But what the was that rose floral arrangement that was delivered to her bridal shower that was like so unnecessary? Like, I would love to know your opinions on that, because that was crazy.
I mean, I guess I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that she didn't realize how big it would be, but it's not my first time buying flowers. And
right?
Either way, like small mistake, I didn't realize how big it would be, or I did it on purpose and I'm just telling people I didn't realize how big it would be. The end is the same, and she just made it about herself again, and she just always wants the last word. And she thinks that like by not going to the reunion, by not going to basically the HR matter with Mary and Jason, she can have her last word on her own terms, and it just makes her, it just doesn't reflect well on her, and I think it only makes her look more guilty.
I don't remember that scene. Who got the flowers? Christine got the flowers, or Heather got the flowers?
It was Heather's bridal shower, and it was like a lovely little bridal shower, and like there was, you know, Christine was not invited, and like that was made very clear. And then there was also something that happened with the paparazzi where like somebody said something and Christine was like, why would I even care about a bridal shower? I'm not invited to. And like, so that was like an element. But then like when the bridal shower happened, they were like, Heather, there's one last gift for you, but you have to come outside. And she like came outside, and it was that big rose, like heart. And everyone was just like, ooh.
That's something I respect about Chelsea, for example, is that when she had any issue or potential issue that might be coming up with someone, she would go to them one-on-one and have a private conversation, versus Christine would openly victimize herself and look like, basically put herself in a position to be bullied, or to look like she's being bullied and ganged up on because she's one against everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Master manipulator.
Oh my God, she can teach classes. I just remember being like, why is she still in the office? Why is do you still she gonna from what we know so far from the at least from going on the show, at least going from the show. Let's talk about what happened. Okay. She supposedly bribed a potential client or a former client for Emma for $5,000 to not work with her.
Yeah, $5,000 for Emma's long-term client to dump Emma for Christine.
First of all, I'm like, that's insulting. That number is insulting. You got to bring that up. Secondly, I'm like, does she not expect, like, why did it take it so long for anyone to do anything? Like, I mean, I don't know how real estate works, but
I think Emma brought it up to Mary pretty quickly, and then Mary brought it up to Jason, and I think those conversations were probably within like 2 days or 3 days of each other, I imagine. I've never seen, at least Jason has not been shown to us so upset, because this is like a procedural, ethical matter. It's like putting his business and his life's work like in question. And it's like one thing if you want to make a fool of yourself individually, but they're representatives of the brokerage, and that is something like he didn't have an answer for. Like, you know, you could try and justify so many of Christine's actions, or even just in the realm of the show for reality television and drama, but this was a whole nother level that was uncalled for. Like, there's points in the show where she's antagonizing other cast members on the show, and then she also does that in the press, which is another layer that's unnecessary beyond the show. And then this is actually affecting their business. And, you know, if you're all about your business and your money and professionalism, as you purport all the time, pot calling the kettle black too many times.
Yeah, I definitely was like happy to hear Mary say to Jason, I think this is a fireable offense. Like, if it were me, if it were my company, I would fire her. And I was really happy Mary said that. I don't know why Christine wasn't fired earlier for all of the other shit that she did. But yeah, this clearly. And so then I think Jason was even saying, like, if she doesn't have an explanation, you know, if like, yes, this is something I'm considering, like, you know, letting her go, because this is my business and that's just not ethical, not cool. That made me feel good, because I was like, okay, I guess this is what it takes for Christine to get fired, is like her doing something fucking awful.
So looking at the Oppenheimer Group webpage, because I'm that nerd, she's still on the page. She's still on it.
Wow.
But maybe, right? I'm like, wow. But maybe is they're holding it for the show, for the reunion show. We'll find out. You know, because but as of now, she's still on. As of today, April 26th. 3024, she's still on the webpage.
Wow. I wonder whatever, like, remember last season when Vanessa was like really trying to like connect with Christine and like work with her and like give her opportunities to like explore her past trauma, to like heal and like become her best self. Like, I thought that was a really good, like, I was like excited to see where that went. And then this season, it just seems like Vanessa must have just been like, I see this isn't going anywhere. Like, I didn't see any connection between Vanessa and Christine at all. And it feels like Christine like completely went on the deep end of like manipulation and like bitch vibes.
Yeah, Christine just saw Vanessa and Davina's silence as like compliance and disloyalty, as she loves to say, that loyalty is everything to her, blind loyalty. So she pointed out that they didn't defend her at that Brokers Open, and then I don't know. I think Vanessa and Davina just realized that they were defending a sinking ship, as Chelsea also has said, and it's just not worth their effort, and they have other things like that are priorities for them. Like, it was lovely to see Vanessa show her new love in that guy Nick, and you know that she's still trying hard in the real estate game, and so that was nice to see. She wasn't showcased very much in this season, but the few times we got her, it was still nice to see.
Yeah, I would love to see more of. I wanted to see more of that through her love with the British guy. But again, I guess he, like you said, he was commuting from England and LA. So I'm like, let's see how that works. I wanted more Vanessa because again, I was like, oh, she's awesome, she's amazing, I love her. But then there was Chelsea. I'm like, oh shit, I guess she's the new one. But yeah, I think
the new diversity hire basically, and now Maya's gone and Vanessa might be gone, and it's just back to a bunch of blondes.
Yeah.
and then Davina finally being like confronting her about what was it? What did Davina confront Christina about? She said something to Amanza, right? And then Amanza's like, what was it? Because I was just like,
Christine was telling Amanza that Davina only wants to be liked, and so she's siding up with everybody and not making waves or not defending Christine because she just wants to be liked. And what's wrong with that? Like, I want to be amicable with my coworkers and not like cause unnecessary friction. Why is that so bad?
like I'm 36. I'm at the age where I'm like, if you don't like me, you don't like me. We have to work. Let's just not talk. We hang out. But like, I like to, yeah, I want to be liked, but I'm not going to go my way to bug you or like me too. You know, like I'm just.
Well, and Davina had to prove herself, right? Like, she had a situation, I don't even remember what it was, where like they were like, you cannot work for us. And so obviously she's going to be trying harder to get along with the group and like do a better job. She's trying to prove herself again. Like, that's the whole point.
Like, it was the guy she went back to again this season about that house, that crazy house.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. And they gave her a third chance.
Sold that like, $75 million house. Like, it's just like a running joke online.
I like that. Yeah, it really is. I like that he's like third and final chance.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
I'm shocked that he gave her a chance, but I think it's because it must be his partner. His partner seemed to really like Davina.
Yeah. I mean, but like at some point, like, dude, you saw how much they were trying. Like, at some point, from what I gathered, it was like it must have been the Brad be like, bring it down something, dude. Like, yeah.
Ultimately, up to him, and I imagine the show to Adnan, that developer. But I imagine the show gives him some publicity for that house. Also, she didn't really handle that. The lady who didn't want to sell her house as quickly, she didn't handle that situation as professionally as I would have liked. And then she said some things in front of Mary that I thought was, ooh, you wouldn't say that in front of your now technically manager, where you told your client that you're paraphrasing what they said to you. You asked me to fuck off for 30 days or something like that. Like, ooh, spicy.
I mean, but there was a flashback scene where they're like, it's her and Jason, like, you want our opinion, we gave you our opinion. You can take it or not take it. So at one point, I'm like, I felt, well, not professional, it was a little bit warranted though, because I'm like, well, she kind of like, she's worked with you a couple times now.
Yeah, but you can say that without swearing, in front of
True, fair enough. That's true.
Yeah, I felt bad for that. That sucks.
Any final comments? Any final thoughts? I got nothing else. Like, I just want to talk about that one more Christine, and that was it. Like, go ahead.
We can go through like one moment that was really impactful, and we talked about it in the last podcast we did together, was about Maya's family situation and pregnancy, and we know when we filmed our reactions to season 4, we knew from real life timeline that she had unfortunately suffered a stillbirth of her third pregnancy at 38 weeks. And we see her still pregnant in season 5 with that child, knowing the outcome. And I think the producers did handle that sensitively with I'm sure they filmed all this, ahead of time, but the footage that they chose it kind of gave a moment of, I don't know, it was just, I thought it was a little bit beautiful, and it kind of made me tear up.
Yeah, it was like, it was hard for me as a pregnant person to like watch, just like seeing her with her beautiful like baby bump, and just like knowing like she must be so happy and like proud and excited, and like knowing the outcome. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm like tearing up just thinking about it right now. Like, that's so sad.
Yeah, no, yeah, seeing that, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I personally, which I'm like, why are you showing her belly bump right now? Like, personally, because I'm like, I know what's gonna happen. Personally, I'm like, I don't like, I don't know, like, it's sad. I know what's gonna happen in the future, but I'm like, I don't want to be more sad because I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Reality, you know, we don't want to necessarily push it under the rug, and Maya has been forthcoming enough online about it, and
That's true.
You know, not oversharing. But I thought this season really focused on family planning a lot this season and last season, with Jason and Chriselle ultimately deciding not to stay together because they have different ideas for children, and Mary and Romaine talking about freezing eggs or not, Heather and her husband talking about fertility journey, and it's a very common thread for a lot of these women and the men in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really appreciated that for sure. I will say also that I am so proud of Chriselle. Like, that must be so hard to be madly in love with someone and not be on the same page about family planning. And after what she's been through, to have that love, right? And you're 40 years old, and like there is a time stamp on this. And, you know, she initially told Jason, like, if you're not into this, like, this is not going to be a thing. And I just am so proud of her for like sticking to that and being true to herself and recognizing like what's important to her. I just can't say enough about Chriselle. I just like I'll marry her. Like I like want to be her best friend. I just think she's a super rad human. And I feel like when she walks into a room, like she's like glowing. She's just like from the inside out. She's so beautiful to me. I just love her.
I love Chriselle. I think most of them are pretty awesome. I love all of them in there except for that one.
Yeah. Okay.
She's our guiding light of the show, and maybe that's why she's like the main star or always at the forefront. I feel like she carries the momentum of the tone of the show forward.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely like feel bad because I know Masha doesn't really want any more Christine, but there's one last thing I wanted to say about Christine that really, like, this was like the thing that got me like towards the end. I was like, oh my God, Christine, like her excuse for this season was, I'm just funny. You're just not getting my humor. I'm just a comedian. Like, I'm just hilarious. And it was just like, what? Like, this is your excuse right now? Is that you're just funny? Like, you're not. And I loved so much when Mary was just like super direct with her, and they sat down and had that little, you know, moment at the cafe. And Mary was like, it's not funny. It hurts people. No one thinks it's funny. And since we don't think it's funny, please consider that maybe your jokes aren't funny and stop making them. Like, she just was direct. And Christine, like, thinks she's a comedian. Like, what's that about?
She's not even that clever. It's lowbrow, you know, low-hanging fruit that's not funny. Yeah.
When she said that, it rubbed me the wrong way. It took me back to middle school. It took it remind me of my bullies. I'm like, it's not like it's why then. Yeah, no, like.
Yeah, there are plenty of comedians who work really hard and are brilliant at what they do. Like, you are not funny.
And they have a shorter list of enemies.
Okay. The last thing I'll say about Christine, I swear, the one thing that like was kind of funny that she probably didn't intend for it to be funny was when she did her hair really like short and straight that one time, and Chelsea was like, oh my God, your hair looks so beautiful, and Christine's like, yeah, I'm going for like an Ivanka Trump thing, and I was like, oh, I get it now, like I get who you are. Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, play a character, maybe, you know, put on a costume.
Yeah. That was funny to me. I was like,
Final comments, final thoughts.
Emma's diamond nipples.
Oh my God. All right, so before we move on, that was something that happened offline. Did you want to elaborate on that, Masha? Because that happened offline before we started recording.
Well, we were talking about Chelsea's comment about sinking or swimming with her bolted on titties.
I want to question, I am not the one saying these things.
I know, and I'm all for what you want to do with your body, and I'm not making any judgment or moral qualifier regarding that. It's just, I feel like Emma's headlights were shining bright so often, and I just was distracted for so many moments, but
I personally,
neither here nor there.
I love that, and I felt seen, and I felt heard, and I felt represented as a person who always has rock hard fucking nipples. I was just like, yes, just like wear that, like have them be out, like thank you for representing us. Like it made me feel seen. I loved it. And she found love. Like,
did she though? Like,
I mean, I don't know.
Like,
Maybe I like that guy, Micah. I think it was a little hammered down, or but it's fine.
It's cute.
She represented herself well this season.
Yeah.
I hope there's a season 6. I'll say that. Maybe a final season, because I am getting to the point where I have too much drama. Let's see some houses, stuff like that. I'm sick of Christine already. Although I have a feeling, if she does get fired, she's gonna get a spin-off show. If she does get fired.
Oh yeah, big time.
She has a book out. Well, half of them have books out or their own shows. And then she's like doing this brokerage based on cryptocurrency with her husband. And maybe that's her next endeavor. And
oh my God.
I am curious that we're getting a reunion, which we haven't gotten for any of the other seasons after this one. And I don't know, Selling Tampa, I haven't heard a second season coming out yet, so I'm not sure if they're going to continue down that. The new the new office in the OC, maybe that'll be an offshoot. I don't know. I feel like I could see this naturally ending at season 5 and having this continue with the other offices or the other Alex or Adam DeVillo shows, but I just don't want Christina in the next season.
Yeah, no more Christine. We've had enough. But I am excited for Tampa. I like the direction of Tampa because I feel like it does go a little bit more into like mentorship and like lifting people up, like, and it has a little bit of drama and stuff, but like I'm excited to see what happens with Tampa.
Masha?
No, I enjoyed watching that show too, Tampa. Maybe we'll do an episode about that if we rewatch it.
Yeah. Tampa.
Okay. Final comments, final thoughts? Was that it?
Thank you for having us to do this. I love talking about Selling Sunset. It's the best.
Anything else you want to talk about? As you can see from my show, we do mostly comic stuff, but whatever you want ladies want to talk about too, feel free to suggest.
What if there was a comic book of Selling Sunset?
I would buy it so fast.
Gosh.
Who would be the superhero? Christine would be the evil demon.
They would go pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That would be awesome. Chriselle would be the superhero. She's just like, love and light.
All right, Masha, anything you want to say? Anything you want to?
No, I think we touched on most people in the show.
Alrighty. Well, thank you, Leah. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for talking Sunset with me. We'll see you same fracking time, same fracking channel. Frack off.
Frack off.